All right. Thank you so much for joining. This meeting is for our LJ Realty team, our licensed agents. So we want to get started with the interest rates and the last update that we have from Freddie Mac. This is from from February 8th. The interest rates were around 6.64. This for your 30-year fixed conventional loans compared to your 15 years, which were around 5.90. Okay, we did have a Fed meeting, so we will show you guys what was the outcome of that. But according to Mortgage News Daily, yesterday the interest rate went up around 17 basis points. Okay, and we will tell you the reason for that as well. But right now, we were seeing last week the interest rate coming down to almost 6.65. That was a good news. But now, right now, we are seeing the interest rates ticked up as of yesterday. Okay, when your guys are looking at these headlines or your clients are looking at these headlines, just tell them that these are usually for your top tier scenario, right? When you're seeing these averages, that means your credit scores is good. You're putting down payment more than 20%. It's going to be your primary residence. You're going to live there, and it's going to be a single family. So let's say you are going for a two family here. So instead of getting 7.13, you might get even a little bit higher. Okay. So there's many factors when it comes to interest rates. The biggest movement that we saw is because of inflation data, right? So there's positive and negatives. So let's talk about both. So for the positive, overall, your inflation rate, you guys can see here, it came down to 3.1. What was it before this 3.1? Where did it come down from? It came down from 3.4. Okay, this was in December. So in January's data, 3.1. So we want to see this keep coming down, right? Why is that? This way the government can actually do the rate cuts and the mortgage rates will come down. Okay, if the government sees these inflation rates go up, right? We saw this 9.1 in 2022. That means the dollar doesn't hold as much value as it should, right? So the government will want to increase the interest rates on car loans, on home mortgages, on everything, so they could be less spending. And now the inflation is coming down. Hopefully they'll start cutting the rates. The next inflation data that we'll get is going to be on March 12th. So let's pay attention to that. But for now, it is headed in the right direction. So when we say good news, 3.1, the bad news is that our housing, because we are real estate agents, so we are related with the housing market, that inflation was around 6.0. So we know that we want to see that come down as well. So not just all the items. All rest of the items were 3.1, but shelter, housing, that was 6.0. Okay. So if your clients are asking, you should know this. Hey, what's the inflation rate right now? It came down from December until January to 3.1% right now. Okay. Next, guys, your home insurance. Some of you guys are homeowners. Some of you guys are watching this recorded one later. You guys might be a homeowner and you guys see that home insurance went up. That is happening with TLC insurance. That's happening with home insurance. That's happening everywhere because of inflation. Okay, so now there's some companies that are just backing out as home insurance business because they just feel like there's some areas in California, Florida, are really high risk for them. They can literally go bankrupt. So what they're doing, they're increasing the premiums. So if your client is going through that, or if you're going through that as a realtor, you should know that, hey, there's something going on the market where the home insurance prices are going up. Simply shop around. But you should not stick with one company. Just shop around and see what other companies are offering you. Okay. Next, guys, we're going to give you two different examples for affordability here. So maybe you or your client may run into this scenario here. So the first one is going to be a household income of $85,000. Their down payment is $70,000. When I look at just those two things, that was like as a realtor, right? I say, hey, this person has a steady income of $85,000, down payment 70. That person should be able to buy a house. I don't know the amount. Let's figure that out, right? Their monthly debt is $110. What does this mean is that minimum payments that they have to make on their credit cards or $110. The interest rate will use the today's national average 7.13. Property taxes 5,000, property insurance 1,500. This family can comfortably purchase a property around $446,000, and they can make the payment of their mortgage for around $3,000. Their DTI, their debt to income ratio, is about 45% for this one. Okay, you want, even for yourself or your, as your clients and everything, you want to have your DTI, your debt to income ratio, as low as possible, so you can make your payments, right? Because you're going to be making these payments for how long? For 30 years. It's a long time. So you want to make sure that you are comfortable making those payments. So the first family can purchase a house for 446. The second one has an income that's much higher, 135 as household income, right? Maybe husband and wife working together, or just one of them has 135,000 and the other person doesn't work. It doesn't matter. What's the total household income that's going to be on the application? Their down payment is a little bit more, $90,000, but look at their monthly debt, right? They have $750 in their monthly debt. Maybe they have a car payment, maybe they have a student loans, maybe they have other credit cards that piled up, and now their minimum payments are $750. That's going to affect them when it comes to their affordability. Now, the first family was looking in an area where the property taxes were 5,000. This family is looking for property taxes that's going to be around 10,000. They're not looking for a property that's going to have $10,000 taxes. They're looking for an area or a property itself. It happens to be their taxes are higher. So this family, even though if these two things come down, they can probably purchase a house that's close to 700,000, but because of their monthly debt, because of their property taxes, they can afford a little bit below $600,000. Again, the DTI, we're using 45% for them. That's income. Let's say you guys are showing them a property, and Sheldon and you guys show a property that's $620,000. This person still can qualify for 620. How is that going to be possible? Because of their DTI. So when you're looking at these pre-approvals and you say, hey, you only qualify for 550, and I'm showing you $700,000 house, how is that possible? They might get a cosigner. They might have a DTI, increase in their DTI, and they can afford a bigger property, right? So just don't assume what is on the pre-approval letter is that's concrete. It's not. That can change. On the other hand, it can be where they're giving you a pre-approval for $700,000, and that pre-approval was 6 months old or a year old, and now they lost that job. Guess what? That person does not qualify for anything now, right? So their scenario might change. So when you're looking at the pre-approval, see how old that pre-approval is. Okay. Next, guys, is the early payoff. Again, some of you guys are homeowners, right? Some of you guys bought this house last year. Some of you guys bought it this year, in January. Big ups to you guys. Your next goal should be to pay off the mortgage. Will not hope be paid off overnight, but you guys can take some steps to achieve that goal. One of them is making extra payments when you can afford it. It could be $100, $200, any amount you can afford. Put it towards your mortgage, and you can, in this scenario, hey, if someone's mortgage payment P&I, right, principal and interest, was $3,300, and then they start making $350 extra payments, they can save 7 years. So your 30-year mortgage can turn into 23 years just by making extra payments. Okay. And another positive thing is going to happen is going to be your interest that's going to be saved. Over $200,000 in this scenario. Your scenario is going to be different. It could be more or less, but contact your lender and say, hey, I want to start making extra payments. Could you guide me? And you guys should have the same conversation with your clients too. Even as a realtor, you're not going in depth with them. Just have a conversation. Hey, you bought the house. Try making extra payments so you can pay off the loan quicker. Okay. You guys can see the chart here, guys, for pending sales. The point of this slide is to show you guys that things are moving around now. We had a rough year last year. Things are picking up. Be part of those transactions. The contracts are, on the rise right now. People are making offers. The offers are getting accepted. We want you and your client to be on that note as well. Okay. Next is your appreciation calculator for Queens. So somebody bought a house just with 10% down payment, and they bought it for $400,000 property. When we're talking about real estate, we're looking at it as a long-term game. You have to explain that to your client. And majority of these people who have pre-approval, they want to be in there long term. But just be transparent with them that, hey, if you're going to live here for a short time term, it might not be worth it. You might still want to rent this place out instead of buying it. On the other hand, if you're going to be here for a longer time, I'm going to show you how much your house can appreciate in this area. Okay, so $400,000 property, 10% down payment, closing cost around $20,000 without any prepaid or escrows. And we want to review it for 10 years, right? And the forecast appreciation is on the lower end. Right now it could be 6%, 7%, depending on the property, but we're keeping on the lower end around 4%. And we're doing this for Queens here, and this is our scenario, and let's see the chart. So you guys can see the chart for this 10 years for your appreciation. This is the percentage return on investment with 10% down payment. So the first 2 years, as we mentioned, is never worth it. Why? Because it's still cheaper to rent if you're going to live there just for 1 or 2 years, right? It's hard to buy a house, live there for a year or two, and try to flip it. If it happened in Long Island, during COVID time, that was great. You could flip your house living there within a year or two. But when we're looking at it in the long run, on an average homeowner, we expect them to live there for at least 5 to 7 years where they can truly see some equity being built. So in this scenario here, the first year and the second year, you're not seeing much. But starting year 3, year 4, 5, 6, and the return on investment is increasing. Okay, so stuff like this can show you Long Island, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx. Majority of them, I reviewed this data, and majority of them are very similar. So as long as the house is in five boroughs and Long Island, Nassau, you will see appreciation that's going to be very similar to this. Okay. Next, guys, is going to be some stats from NAR here. Realtors continue to leverage technology and online tools. They're super, super important, guys. Some of you guys are old school, which is perfectly fine, that you guys want to write everything on paper, but just know that your clients, they're expecting more from you. You're competing with other realtors who are just maybe just a year in experience, but they know their tools inside out, right? So you have to know the tools that the office is providing, and just doing some research. Some of you guys want to add your own tools. Hey, I want to communicate through this app. It's perfectly fine as long as you guys are using these tools. Okay. And realtors enter a profession with variety of prior professions experiences, and we know that majority of our realtors either part-time or they're using it as a side hustle. They have something solid on the side end, on the side, right? Most often their previous careers was in sales or realtor as a retail sector, but only 6% of these guys were they came in and they say, hey, I'm gonna pick real estate career, and I'm gonna make it where I'm making $100,000, $150,000 out of this career. But majority of them are just starting out as a part-time, which is perfectly fine. But you got to know if you're going to transition being a realtor in the long run or not. The people who are joining these meetings, watching these recorded meetings later on, you guys are really spending some time and trying to learn what's going on weekly basis, right? Some of you guys are very, tech savvy. You guys are keeping up to date with the news. You're keeping up to date with your clients, with the inventory. Those are the agents that will be able to transition, right? On the other hand, if you're just trying to do this as a side hustle, it's going to be very, very hard for you to transition, into a real estate, being a full-time realtor, right? And I can tell you guys this much: we have agents who are just focused on rentals and making a good living out of it. I can't disclose the numbers, but just can rest assured there's few of the agents that's doing a great amount of work just being a rental agent. Some of our agents are focusing on the commercial side, and majority of them are just in residential 1 to 4 units. Just pick your idea. There's one agent that does only single families, right? It just happens to be like, hey, I just can't find a person that wants two family. Majority of my clients are in Long Island. Most of the properties in Long Island are single family, and I'm just focused on that particular area. He picked only two different areas, and he just advertises and focuses on just on those. You guys can learn from that as well. Just doesn't matter what it is. Some of you guys are saying, hey, I don't want to touch rentals. It's too much of a headache or this and that. But no, even the programs that are provided through Section 8 or any vouchers, right? Learn those programs and see if you can be a helping hand to your client, and it's going to pay you back in commission, right? So the rentals, people who want to rent out and everything, please do not say no. Write the information down. If you're brand new, you have no experience, just ask me and how we're going to move forward with that particular client. Okay. Next, guys, in the news was that this article that affordability hovered near 10-year low in quarter four here in 2023, but the national averages were around 6.64 as your interest rates, where we want those interest rates to come down into fives. That's what we want to see in the next coming months. Okay. Next, guys, this was in the news here. We wanted you guys to learn and also have your clients when you're talking about anything that has to do with scam or anything like that. So scammers try to refinance someone's house. So you might be living in a house, you're paying off your mortgage, and then guess what? Someone say, hey, you don't even own this house anymore. Right? Somebody already took out the money and refinanced it pretending to be you. Right? That's a big, big red flag. That's a violation, right? So how can you prevent that? You can watch out for these warning signs, guys, right? You guys can look at your statements, your charges on your checking accounts, see any deductions that you don't realize, right? If you don't recognize any of those charges, you can do a chargeback, right? Take some action on that. Any debt collection call that you'd never made. Let's say someone's calling you and saying, hey, you owe this much and you have never made any, purchase on that. Anybody that's calling you over the phone and asking for your information, hey, could you verify your date of birth or your social security or no, I should not be able to, tell you that over the phone. If you're calling me, you should have that on file. Otherwise, if I have to apply for something, I'll apply on my own. I'm not gonna wait for you guys to call me and ask me my information. Okay. Now as the tax season is coming up, there's so much fraud goes on regarding taxes. Hey, you owe IRS, especially people who actually owe maybe a few hundred dollars, and they might think, hey, yes, I do owe something, and maybe this is a legitimate call, and it might not be. And you definitely want to monitor your credit report, right? There's so many free services through Credit Karma and other apps. Just sign up with one of them and just monitor your credit report and see if you see anything that you don't recognize there as well. Yeah, your bills, your bank statements, anything that you're not expecting in mail, and if you receive it, take some action on that. Okay. Protect your personal information, just especially when you're filling out forms online and you see so many emails come through, and we have to send screenshots to you guys as well that, hey, this is scam, this is spam, just be careful. When you're clicking on any link, just be careful on that. Right? Some of these guys, when you just click on one link, it downloads a file and it start tracking you without you even realizing. You might say, hey, I downloaded something and nothing happened to my computer. Maybe it's running on the back end. Okay. So just be careful when you see any text messages, any emails, or any links that, you are sharing your information on. Okay. And we mentioned your credit report as well. Okay. All right, guys. Next, final walkthrough, guys. As a realtor, your final walkthroughs are super, super important, right? We know that. We want to tell, especially for new agents, when you go under contract, you have to have relief that, hey, I have done my job. I have showed this client so many houses, right? It took me so many, maybe weeks, months, sometimes years to get this person to say, hey, I like this house. Let's make an offer, and my offer is accepted, right? Your offer is accepted. You're going through under contract. You say, hey, finally, I don't have to worry about this. Let the attorneys, let the loan officer worry about this client and take it to the closing. But before, when they hear clear to close and the closing is happening, you going to do a final walkthrough and make sure everything is in working order, right? So what you're expecting through the final walkthrough is to make sure, as we mentioned, everything's in working order, and you should know by now what stays and what goes, right? If the appliances on on the listing it says, hey, the washer and the dryer stays, it should stay there, right? See what you guys agreed on. Nothing new should pop up at the final walkthrough, but you definitely want to do the final walkthrough within last 24 hours of the closing. It can be done in the same day as well. But how about if there are issues? Keep it very simple. Whatever that cost is to fix it, let's put that money in escrow. The attorneys will handle that. But your job as a realtor is like, hey, we found this problem. I want my client to be happy about this transaction. I don't want this client to say, hey, the tree that was in the backyard is supposed to be removed and is not removed at the final walkthrough, right? If it's not removed and it's going to cost thousands of dollars to remove one tree, right? It literally costs thousands of dollars to move a tree, depending on the size and everything. And who's responsible for that? Clearly, is the seller, because the seller agreed to remove this tree. Okay, so you want to make sure that you guys are holding enough money in escrow. You are not holding money in your escrow account. The attorneys are doing it, but you are the one who's going to be talking to your buyer's attorney and telling them, hey, we had this issue. Okay. And how about when you're putting in an offer and you have open permits? Your client is asking for permits, violations, liens. Simply put, we would need a clear title. But we do have tools through Property Shark and a couple of other ones through our mortgage site. Just simply send us the address. Say, hey, my buyer likes this property. We know it's so tough to even hear those words that he likes this property. He wants to put in an offer, and see what you see on this property address. Just text us on this 516 number, or just send us a message in Teams. Right? You could do a group one, or you could just send me it directly, and I can take a look at those addresses and guide you guys. And if we see 50 different violations, we literally have seen plenty, 30 plus violations on one property. I simply say, hey, try to stay away from that property, right? Because when there's so many violations. And some of you guys are really tech savvy with WhatsApp group. So once you are gone under contract, it's a good idea, like Mohammed did yesterday here, created a group message. So he said Teams is good for internal, but I want to have a WhatsApp group where I want to have my buyer and the attorney. We're just chatting about this transaction, and nothing sensitive information is shared in this group, right? But just to keep up with the file. Hey, where's the file moving and all that, right? We want to make sure that we stay in compliance, but we can have these groups just to stay up to date with the file. So your client, your attorney, yourself can create a group when you are going under contract. Okay. Right? And how important is your home inspection? Right? We think it's very, very important, even if it gives you no negotiation room or leverage or any of that. But I just want to know, the condition for the property that I cannot see personally, right? If even as a realtor, you're not checking the plumbing, you're not checking how old the electric panels are, or how old is the boiler, or how old is the roof. All these things, we're not, as realtors, we're not expected to know these things. Our job is to show the property. If they like the property, let's put in an offer. Right? We're finding the properties for this person. But the home inspector is the person that's coming in the game and making sure that everything is good with the property, right, in the long run. So, it typically costs $300 to $500 for this home inspection. Is usually not refundable in any way or form, even if you decide not to go with that particular property itself. But, with that report, you can actually make your decision that, hey, I like this property. I don't see any major issues with it. Or I do see major issues. I simply cannot move forward with this. It has saved thousands and thousands of dollars over the years from our brokerage just by doing this home inspections. We have canceled some deals when the home inspection report was terrible, right? It is in your client's best favor to actually, look at the report and decide if they want to move forward or not. So one of our agents here, Mr. Hassan, he's licensed home inspector, has been supporting our company and others. He has a lot of experience now, have done plenty of transactions. So we just want you to support him as well. Okay, his information is listed here, or you simply can search his name in Microsoft Teams and send him a message there. Okay, let's support each other and move forward from there.
On
Yes.
on that, Lucky, I would like to say that I would definitely recommend Hassan when doing an inspection. All my clients are really happy because he gives them on the whole explanation on every single step. And recent inspection that we did in Massapequa, they're under contract now. They were super happy, and they were asking me to give him reviews.
Nice, nice. How much did he pay you to say that? I'm kidding.
Uh,
I'm kidding. But this is
no,
good. This is good. Thank you.
I spoke with Hassan last night about this.
No, thank you for that. No, it means a lot. When another agent is saying good things, about our agent and also home inspector, it goes a long way. So thank you for that. So say,
Trust me, Lucky.
yeah,
Trust me, in this company, I learned one thing: no kickbacks.
no kickbacks.
So I don't pay no nothing. Thank you
Yes,
very much,
yes,
everyone.
yes. No, I
So
was
nice of
kidding,
you.
but thank you though. Yes. But yeah, that's the support that we want to see in the coming years. And like I said, there's so many agents, inspectors, loan officers that are just starting their career with LJ, right? So we really want to support each other. And like I said, as long as we stay in compliance, there's no kickbacks. Stay honest with your client, right? Be transparent with them, and put their best interests first. We can never make a wrong decision, right? It doesn't matter if you're a realtor, home inspector, or a loan officer. Just doing the right thing, and that's what we all about. We will lose some deals when we're doing this, right? We don't want to go behind our clients' back or not think of their best interest, but I think majority of us are on the right track, right? So thank you for supporting each other. All right, guys. Next topic that we have is from Carvin, new agent of ours. He mentioned he was asking about connecting with investors. So we want to go a little bit over that, and if you guys want to charm in into that, that'll be great. So first is like how are we going to connect with these investors, right? We need to know that what they actually want, right? What do they want? So we will talk about that in a little bit. But to find leads, right? Majority of these are paid leads through Zillow or Realtor.com, right? It's very hard to say, hey, I can give you an investor, just like here's a list of investors. It's really hard to find that. But you want to network with, at your local community. Let's say you go to church or you get to this gathering or barbecues or any community that's happening, local community activity that's happening. You want to be part of those, right? In the beginning, you might just want to help out. Later, maybe you just want to start advertising through them as well. Another one is going to be attending auctions. It costs you nothing but your time to start attending auctions, right? We send you guys a PDF file in WhatsApp and Teams. I'm thinking of start emailing you this list as well as PDFs through our Outlook. So you guys have this PDF showing you all the auctions that are happening. At the auctions, you will see other real estate agents. You want to connect with them as well. Give your business cards. Hey, I work with ABC. This person said, hey, I work with XYZ. Connect with them, right? See what you have available. If you're the listing agent, even if you don't, right? Just ask them what they have. If they want to flip any property, they have something off market, right? You want to connect with the realtors. On the same auctions, there are other investors coming there too, right? You want to connect with them. Some of these guys are very experienced. They buy houses on monthly basis. I have known some families that were buying houses, a very rich family buying houses on weekly basis, right? Multiple houses on weekly basis. Like they're on a different game, not your average investor, right? But it will take your time. You have to get your name out there. You have to give out your business cards. You want to be on social media, and know your inventory. You can be expert in everything, but if you don't have any inventory or you don't have access to different inventory, you don't bring any value. If your investor is sending you a property, say, hey, could you go ahead and find more information on this? that might be a problem. It's perfectly fine if they're sending you maybe 2 or 3 properties and you're sending them 10 properties. That's a good ratio. You're sending more than you're receiving. But you're not going to hold any value to the investor if they're doing all the hard work. They want you to be part of this transaction so you can find the property. Just like if we say the buyers are not loyal, right? The investors are definitely not loyal, right? They will cut you out of a deal in a heartbeat. They're that aggressive. So why would an investor wants to work with you, right? The investors want realtors to find a property that might be off market, that might be on market, right? If you have it on MLS, you see it on Zillow or Redfin or any of that sort, send that to them. Some of these properties are sitting on the market for X amount of time, might be 6 months, might be a year, and we start judging that property, right? You say, hey, maybe it's been on the market for so long. What's the problem? It might be no problem at all. Maybe they just didn't find the right buyer. Maybe the deal fell through the first, it happened a couple of times. So many different things can go wrong in a transaction. But if you see a property, send it to them. Take a look at it and see, if they want to actually see the property inside or not. Some of these investors will do a flip where they're just renovating the place, not spending a lot of money, and some of these guys will knock down the old house and build a brand new property on it, right? Usually, if they're knocking it down, they want to build usually 2 family instead of one, so they can have more profit. And these investors, they want to flip the property and make a profit within 1 to 2 years. 2 years definitely being on the long run. If they're just doing renovations, they want to do that within months, not a year. Okay, so that's what your client investor wants. So what does a flip actually looks like? So we just gonna give you an example. If a person is looking for a single family in Long Island, when you see the word ARV, that means after repair value, right? So that's gonna be the selling value after you have repaired the property. But before that, let's look at what's gonna be the purchase price. So if it's an investor, majority of them have all cash. They don't want to have any bank involved. They already have money in the bank. So let's just say the purchase price is $400,000. Their fees at the closing, let's say $25,000, and the repair, they're doing minor repairs. With $50,000, you cannot build a brand new house, right? You're doing minor repairs, and it's going to be $50,000. So now this investor's cost is 475, right? 475 to buy this, renovate it, and now you come in the game and now you want to sell this property, right? And the property value, you did the comps in Long Island and say, hey, I believe that we can sell this property for maybe 580, 590, 610, 620 in that price range, right? And we're just going to go with 599 for now. Now, when he's selling this property, he has to pay closing costs again. So it goes another $25,000, right? So after giving up that $25,000, he's left with 575. But now 575 after the fees and your purchase cost, right? Well, how much did it actually cost him to purchase it, renovate it, and all that? Was 475. So 575 minus the total cost 475, he's left with $100,000. If you can tell your client as an investor that, hey, Mr. Investor, I can find your property and I'm looking at it and I feel like, you can make $100,000 out of it, he will be all over you. Okay? Investors look for at least $60,000 in profit for flipping a property. Okay? So anytime he's going to do his own numbers, and if they are very close to you or even similar to yours, he's going to say, hey, let's take a look at the property. And maybe you're saying $50,000 and maybe he said $70,000 for the repairs and all that. And maybe you can you can adjust the offer accordingly. So just know that they're looking for a broken house. Yeah, Mr. Hassan? So you're,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, regarding this, what you're saying,
Yep.
flipping the house,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a question, maybe concern. Maybe someone, have some idea. I lost like two short sale houses. Like I have investor, they are coming towards me. They already have the realtor, But being a, they said, okay, we're gonna work with you. But I lost like two of them. I show them house, everything is done, and it's on the MLS. It's on the MLS. They give the email address where put the offer and everything. When
Mm-hmm.
I talk to the listing agent, oh, it's already gone. The date is never mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Like this Saturday you have to, oh, you have to fill this and this. How can we solve this issue? Because there is listing on MLS, there is, like, for sale. It's short sale for sure, but it's already a done deal. How could we, this thing, I feel really bad for that investor. Say two houses, I show them and I'm not successful,
Yeah.
and they are a little disappointed. This
Correct.
is happening.
Yeah.
So any idea,
It's
what
just
should we do with this? Yeah.
oh, especially when it's short sale, right? We mentioned this, like, because of the listing agent has to leave it on the market for a certain amount of time, even though they have someone, let's say they receive the offer from you and they say, hey, the offer is accepted, right, from you. And
Yeah.
now Sheldon is showing the same property and they say, hey, we already have, and they might say it's already gone under contract, but even though
Yeah.
they just have an offer accepted or something. Especially with short sale, like I said, there's so many unethical listing agents who are just waiting for a direct buyer, right? They say, hey, we want to get a direct buyer, which is not legal, which is, you're supposed to show the property, but it's just not much we can do. I know you tried filing, with Eric Lee and all that, but it's so tough. It's so tough to, do any of that. But just like we mentioned, like, for a first-time home buyer, it's hard to find a property for them in the market, but for investors, it's even worse. The conditions, the limited inventory, it's just tough to do that. There's no, straightforward answer. Just don't give up.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Yeah,
so it's really hard to get this short sale for sure.
100%,
So
100%. Yeah,
yeah, this is the thing. And one more question while we're on the line, the KV core, this issue is still there.
correct.
I
So
don't
I'm
know.
gonna mention KV Core in a bit. So yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. The issue, yeah, they're still fixing it. And on this note, though, we just had one of our agents go under contract. It was a bank-owned property. He had to go back and forth and renegotiate, right? One was that it was everything was done through the portal, and he had to increase the offer. He went back and made some adjustments. So when we say the portals, they are much better than sending an offer to the listing agent. The listing agent might not even say, hey, anything to you guys. On the other hand, if it's the portal, you will see that, hey, there's a counter offer you guys can submit on the portals. And usually that portal link, it's on MLS, right? It will be in under remarks. Okay. So that's what the clients are looking for. Flips are definitely tough. One of the problem with these flips or these investors is the property occupied or not, right? If it is occupied, that means the old owner is living there, right? Some of these even short sale or foreclosures, the owner becomes the tenant because that person has no right, right? Your investor already bought this house now, but the old person, the old owner that was living there, he still decides to live there for another year. And now you want to get them out. New York is a tenant state, so it will not happen overnight. It's going to take some time. There's some steps that you have to send notices, you have to take them to the court and get them out. Just a time frame, you guys should know this, that Nassau is between 3 to 5 months, whereas in Queens is 5 to 10 months. Okay. So some of these, people, even tenants, when they go to the court and say, "Hey, I'm trying to find a property, I simply can't," this and that, so the judge might give them another date. So that every time they're, delaying this process is costing your investor that. So your number one concern should be, "Hey, I found this property and it's vacant." If it's vacant, go all over it. Show them the property within 24 hours. If they like it, move forward. If it's occupied, right, then you want to let your client decide if they want to move forward or not. Okay. So this property, I found it this morning here, is in Westbury, listed for 450, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,600 square foot built on about 4,700 square foot lot. So everything is solid on that. I would highly recommend that if you have investors, show them this property. Okay. Next, guys, we are having issues with Arrive. Oh, sorry, not Arrive, in KV Core right now. But I still want to show you guys how to properly send out links in KV Core. So when you are under alerts and you're seeing the alerts, recent results here, and you want to send out this particular property, you click on it, and it will take you to the property page. And now under more actions, send via text, this is automatically popping up. If you don't X this out, your client will just see a photo and the link will not work. In order for the link to work, you need to X that out first so there's nothing there. And you have to start typing in the address, the property address, right? So once you start typing it in just like this, you will see on the drop down, it will have the address and the MLS ID. When you select it, and it will become something like this on the bottom, where it says MLS ID 3524187. You will see that. If you see this, that will work. Your client will get the text message with the link and they can click on it. If you send it just like this, it will not work. KB Core, just in general, is having issues with their links right now. Even on our website, our logo is not showing a couple of different things, and I think they're simply updating the site's servers. And they promised yesterday it should have been fixed. After this meeting, I'll follow up with them as well. But just note that when it is fixed, this is the format that you want to have. You don't want to keep sending your clients links where it says, I think you might like this property, but don't have any address. Always start with just the address. And the same that you copy there, you can copy it and paste it on the bottom here. And the format should look something like this. Okay. All right, guys. Today is Valentine's, so this post here, that home is any four walls that enclose the right person, right? So who's gonna find the right person? Let the buyer find the right person. You find the right four walls for them. That's your job. Hey, let me find the right property for these couple. They're about to get married. They want to move in. They're renting right now. Let me put in all my efforts to find them a property. Okay. Next, guys, I will ask you a question after this. I'm going to go over two different programs. You might have a client and say, hey, I want to buy a house, but my income is not that great. Or I work as a 1099. I simply don't show much on my taxes. And just by looking at my, tax returns, I don't qualify for much. I went to 2 or 3 different lenders and they're telling me that, hey, I just can't purchase a property that I want. They're saying maybe go find a condo. I'm looking for a single family. For them, you can tell them at LJ Mortgage Team, we have loan programs where there's no income check. We do not look at the tax returns for this type of client, but their credit score needs to be solid. So this program here is called DSCR, Debt Service Coverage Ratio, and you need solid credit scores for this, right? Solid meaning above 700. If it's 720 or more, then you can qualify. For down payment too, you need to have solid amount of down payment. You're saying you're not paying taxes, but you should have money saved up for your down payment. Do you have 20% or not? If you do, that's great. Your debt to income ratio 49%, your closing cost for this type of loan will always be a little bit higher than your income check loans. These are non-QM loans. Okay, this is great for investors. Since the whole topic is for investors, your investor can get a property like this where they cannot live in there. It has to be a rental property. Okay, and for this type of loan, we're not checking any incomes. We're simply looking at the property. Let's say, Mr. Ali, you show them a property and the mortgage for this one is going to be $5,000 and the rental income that's coming in is also $5,000. That means it's good. This person can purchase that property with using this type of loan. On the other hand, if the mortgage is $5,000, but the rent that they're collecting is only $3,000, then we cannot do that. The property's rental income must cover your mortgage payment. Okay. Your second type is going to be your bank statement. Maybe it is that situation where your mortgage payment is $5,000, but the rent is $3,000. Then you can go with the bank statement loan. With bank statement loan, again, we don't need tax returns. We just need to see your bank statements. If you own a business, we need to see your business bank statements, and we're gonna see how much you qualify based on the deposit that went into that. Okay, so two different programs, both of them are no income check. So you can tell your clients, hey, if you don't have any income showing on your taxes, come talk to a loan officer at LJ Mortgage and see if you qualify for bank statement loan or DSCR loan. So if you had to choose your own, guys, we went through a FHA conventional last meeting, today bank statement or DSCR. If you had to buy a property today, which one you think you qualify for? Regular FHA, conventional, bank statement, or DSCR? Anyone?
It all depends if you already have a different property.
Okay, so your situation will be different, right? If you already own a property or not. Anybody's thinking about buying a house in the near future and thinking about one of these programs, or have any questions regarding these programs that your client might have the same questions? Right. So just think of it like this.
How about
Go ahead. Yes, Clark.
no? I was saying, they came out with the 5% down for multifamily program that wasn't around before. So that would be I know they have the FHA that's asking 3.5, but I know there's also conventional Fannie Mae that does I believe what 5%.
For up to 2 units, though. If you go three or more, then you would need more. But then again,
Oh,
this is the loan programs that we have, right? There might be a different lender, might be, saying that, hey, for 4 units, you can put down 5%, 10%. I highly doubt it because the risk gets bigger with more units and everything, but it's definitely possible, right? So that's the beauty of shopping around too. Even if it's for you, if it's for your client, tell them, hey, know your options based on if your credit scores are in fives, right? You don't have much options. 500, 550, 570, anything below 580 is going to be tough for you to get anything. But once you hit 580, you say, hey, fine, I can qualify for FHA. But my goal is to get 620 or more so I can qualify for my regular conventional. But if I'm not showing any income on my taxes or anything like that, or I don't qualify based on my income that's on my taxes, then I need 700 or more, okay, for these non-QM loans. All right, guys. Guys, could anyone tell me what's the difference between a mortgage commitment and a pre-approval letter? Because to your clients, one of our agents asked for this, so I expect every one of you guys to know this as well. What's more important? Which one holds more weight?
Obviously, mortgage commitment.
Commitment, right?
Pre-approval as the yeah.
Perfect. So pre-approval is simply, the loan officer is checking their records, like how much they have, in tax returns, how is their debt looking on their credit report and stuff like that. But commitment is when they're actually agreeing on it and saying, hey, you already gone under contract, Hassan, you already put in an application in, and the underwriter reviewed it, and they committed. Now this person can get a loan, right? Commitment it's very, very important when it comes to contracts as well, right? In the contract is usually say, hey, we need a commitment within 7 days, 10 days, 21 days. At LJ here, we provide commitment within 48 hours or so on average, but different lenders might take different time. Just know that you should, as a realtor, I should have or my client should have a mortgage commitment within 7 days from the application date. So this way they know that, hey, this lender is committed to giving the mortgage to them and this type of loan, this type of amount, and we can actually close. With that same commitment, you will see conditions. Hey, we're committed to give you this loan, but we need these things clarified. So those are your conditions. All right, guys. So guys, your goal should be to build strong relationship with your clients, right? Get to really know them and see what's really going on with them. They are going to purchase a house that's going to be $500,000, $800,000, $1 million, $1.4 million, huge amounts, right? They're really trusting you on this. So if you need any help with any step of the way, you're gonna ask me, right? That should be what. That's the reason I'm here for you guys, right? But the continued learning that you guys doing on your own, or you're coming to these meetings, those are great. But keeping up to date with your client, with the inventory, those are the things that matter the most. More important than these meetings. If you're going to KV Core every day and you're clicking on listings and you're checking on inventory every day, automatically in your head you're putting data in your head. So when you're talking to your client, hey, yes, there is a new property coming on the market on 128th Street. Yes, there's a new property being built on this street here. Any area that you want to become expert at, know the inventory. We cannot all be listing agents. We simply can't, right? There's just not enough inventory. There's not enough sellers out there. But whatever is available on the market already, it might be just got there yesterday or 6 months. If I'm, servicing this area like South Ocean Park or Valley Stream or Elmont, I want to know every inventory out there. So you guys should keep an eye on those every single day. Your dashboard, if you see any activity there, take some action. Tell your client, hey, I see that the property, you view this property, could I schedule a showing for you inside? Even if they say, hey, I don't like the outside, you could perfectly fine. Do you want to see inside or not? Right? It might take you, you might love the inside and you can renovate the outside. Right? If everything else checks off, you never know, what kind of response that you will get, unless you will never find out unless you actually follow up with them. All right, guys. We have a few more slides, but before that, I just wanted to ask you guys any questions, concerns, anything on your mind, guys.
Yes, about the KV core, you just mentioned that that issue is solved from I experienced that. My client is getting information whatever I'm sending, texting them.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that yesterday I asked you about when I KV core, when I clicked to get my client's information, it didn't come out.
Correct.
That's the problem.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct. That problem still is not resolved.
is
Also, on
is not
top of that,
resolved.
there's
Okay.
2 or 3 other issues came up last night, right, through
Oh,
KV Core.
okay.
So they're fixing it. But the steps that I showed you, even when it's fixed and everything, that's the process that we want to send out, or when we're
We're
sending
gonna
them
do
links.
this.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
And guys,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem, guys. And the last thing is like, guys, February, today's the 14th, a month and a half is already gone for 2023, right? Or 2024. So we really want you to be under contract. If you're not under contract, please see how can I support you guys. Maybe you need more leads. Maybe you want to start advertising in different areas. Maybe you need office leads. Whatever the case is, right? You want to ask me about this. It should bother us that, hey, we're not under contract, right? You will not get paid until you go under contract and actually close that deal. So really, let's make that as our number one priority. Hey, I want to be under contract, and then we go from there. Other than that, thank you so much for joining, guys. I will see you guys next time. Any comments, any concerns, you guys can send a message. We want to improve these meetings. A couple of these ideas come from you guys. Majority of these ideas come from you guys. So anything, just send me a message and I'll include it in the next meeting. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
you're welcome.